Okay, I want to begin today by doing a reading. Actually, it's one of my favorite readings I usually pick. I actually posted it on Facebook this morning. It's from August the 3rd. By the way, it's from Each Day in the Beginning, the other meditation book for women. All that is necessary to make this world a better place to live in is to love. To love as Christ loved and to love as Buddha loved. To be unconditionally loved is our birthright, and we are so loved by God. We desire just such a love from one another, and we deserve it. It is a human quality to look for a love before giving it. Thus, many of us search intently for signs of love. Too many of us are searching rather than loving. Truly loving another means letting go of all expectations. It means full acceptance, even celebration of another's personhood. Not easy, but so rewarding, to ourselves as well as to the one who is the focus of our love. Love is a balm that heals. Loving lightens our burdens, whatever they may be. It invites our inner joy to emerge. And most of all, it connects us one to each other. Loneliness leaves. We're no longer alienated from our environment. Love is the mortar that holds the human structure together. Without the expression of love, it crumbles. Our recovery program has offered us a plan for loving others, as well as ourselves. Love will come to us just as surely as we give it away. Each and every expression of love I offer today will make smooth another step I take on my life's journey. I wanted to read that because I wanted to talk about something today, because our topic is, how do I develop healthy relationships with others? Let me take a minute though and just kind of explain the others. When we talk about relationships, we're talking about really what I call the real core of life. We're involved in so many relationships on a daily basis, but also we talk about the concept of connecting with others. We also talk about this energy and this power we have inside of us. I call it the energy and the power of love. See, in reality, all of us are lovers. We have this energy given to us by the Creator, given to us at the moment of our birth. And that energy has many faces. The mistake that many of us make is we keep sticking to just one area of relationships, and then we get caught up in it, and we can't figure out why it doesn't work. When you use the word relationship, a lot of times we think of male and female, or female and female, male and male. We talk about adult relationships, but there are all kinds of relationships. I always put it this way. I want to talk today about what I call the face of relationships, because basically it comes down to what are the faces of love. Because an energy is so powerful. We live in a very sad world. They have taken this word love and they mix it up with the word lust. And basically they constantly talk about this concept of turning it into novels and things of this effect, and sex and stuff. We get lost in it. We lost the meaning of the word. So let's spend some time today looking at this from 4 different perspectives. We are physical creatures. We have a physical body. And along with that, we're sexual creatures. We're also emotional creatures. We have feelings. Our feelings are neither right nor wrong. They're just feelings. We're spiritual creatures. We have a spirit and energy that makes us who we are. It's our uniqueness. It's our specialness. And we also are social creatures. We have a tremendous need to interact, to interconnect, to be part of other individuals and other people. Unfortunately, many of us, when we think in the term of relationships and we stick to the adult world, so many times we have a tendency to just simply focus on the physical. Now, if we only focus on the physical, in time, relationships will come to an end because they have to be total. And so we are physical, emotional, spiritual, and social individuals. Our power of love, our energy inside of us also has to have these components. But each one of these components, there are different faces. And those faces are the face of a child, the face of a teenager, the face of a young adult, the face of someone in middle age, the face of someone growing older, and the face of old age. So we take the word face and put it in many different directions, but today we're going to concentrate in all those different areas of life and talk about the face of love. Love is a very special and powerful energy. It's a connection that we have. It's a way in which my spirit connects with other people's spirits. And so in reality, if I'm only connecting with people on a physical basis, then I'm caught up in attraction and I have no idea at all what love really is. And so let's take it from another perspective and kind of go through a process with it and talk about the faces of love. See, we talk about relationships. All good relationships begin on a social level, progress to a spiritual level, are connected on an emotional level, and then are also bonded on a physical level. People get upset at me because many times I put physical as number 4 and not number 1. As a result then, and yet I'm not just putting them in categories. All these components make up our personhood, make up who we are. And so I have to realize in the course of my journey in life, how do I look at these different faces? We start with the social. We are social creatures. We live on this earth. We're connected to one another. Even though you might want to run away, you might want to isolate, you might want to hide, you can't. You're part of a community, you're part of a world, you're part of other individuals and people. And for real growth to take place, the face of love has many different concepts on a social level. On a social level, we have something called friendship to interact with other individuals. So love takes on the element, the face of friendship. We need friends. We can't focus alone and by ourselves. We also see where the element of love takes on fun, celebration, dancing, games, enjoying, celebrating, being part of life. These are the faces of love when it comes to social concepts. And so we learn how to interconnect, interact with each other, how to be part of one another. We learn how to be able to celebrate, enjoy who we are. And we all do it differently. I can also experience this. One thing I love to do is dance. I can interact with people and connect on the dance floor. I love the dance floor. I love being connected with people and social aspects in different areas of life. It's good to have friends and people you can hang out with. You can, as we use the term, shoot the bull with, do small talk with, to be part of life, to be part of the journey. You know, I love my buddies over at Holiday City. We get together every morning. You know, we're not saving the world, but we have fun. We socialize. We stay together. We look out for each other. Like this morning, I got up late. I didn't go to exercise this morning because I think I had to get here early, the starting point. And guess what? I got 4 text messages today. Where are you? Are you okay? Is everything all right? We missed you, all that kind of stuff. That's what we call family. That's what we call connection. That's what we call intimacy. That's what we call closeness. Yes, it might not be on this real heavy level, but it's a process we're going through. And I'm grateful to get the text. And I felt bad because I should have texted them and said, I'm not coming today. And I forgot. And so they got me. And you see this in many different areas of life. In our recovery programs, I love my home group. I love being around them. I love being connected with them. I love making phone calls, connecting with people, being part of it, getting together. Even though my home group is virtual, once a month, the local people get together and we socialize. This past Saturday, we got together, had a meeting here, and all went out to the diner afterwards. I've often said some of the greatest ways the energy of love is shared is basically in that concept of doing service work. I've often said some of the greatest meetings I've been to in my life have been at the diner after the meetings. I've been interacting with people over a cup of coffee, Made beautiful things happen and little things on a social level. And that's where we learn that we meet people, we connect with people, we socialize with them, we interact with them. And so socialization is a big face of love. It's an energy. And when you connect with people and you're part of them, you're not lonely, you're not alone. You're part of the world you live in. We also connect with people and we socialize with them. And then from that socialization, as time goes on, some of them become closer. Some move to different levels of relationship with us. Everything's a process. You know, Loretta announced about the law of attraction, the workshop, talked about the shadows, the different types of things they're going to talk about this Saturday. It just simply means that all of us, as we interconnect with each other and learn from each other, some of us grow closer, get to know each other on a more closer level. Some are more at a distant level. It doesn't make any difference. You know, one of the greatest things I love a lot of times, even where I live, a lot of us get together in the evening. And now summertime's coming, we'll sit outside and we'll sit around and just visit and spend time with each other. It's really this concept that makes that energy of love we have inside of us be shared with others. And we do that powerful in a very powerful way on a social level. We also are connected on a spiritual level. So the energy of love has many, many different spiritual faces. On a spiritual level, we are connected to the concept of our spirit, this uniqueness, the specialness of us, and we have a need deep down inside to be able to share that uniqueness, to share that specialness, to connect it with others, to be part of others, be it in friendships, be it in a personal relationship, be it with someone very special, be it with different types of individuals and people in the course of our life. Even at the moment of our birth, we came into this world as a little bundle of love. But even at our birth, we even had a face of love, but the face of love called dependency. See, dependence is not all a bad thing. Nothing's all a bad thing. As a little baby, I was very dependent on my family system for food, shelter, and clothing. I was dependent on a lot of different areas in life, for intimacy, for love, of closeness. And we see this a lot of times because we don't realize that the element of love starts at childhood and develops from there. I did an experiment years ago over in England with a lot of abandoned children. And they noticed that and there was an experiment where two children were presented to two nannies who spent all their time with those children, hugging them, being part of them. The other ones just took care of the basic needs of the other children. It's interesting how the children that got all the attention, all the energy, all that love, flourished so much more powerfully than the other children did. There's that need deep down inside. That face of love takes us into all different areas of our life on a spiritual plane. It may take us into a religious background, a faith background. It may take us into a trust background to be able to experience. And see, my spirit needs to be filled. That means that I got to take time every day to fill my spirit so I truly can take this spirit, this gift of who I am, and I can share it with others. So really, I'm having a relationship when I do my meditation in the morning, and I share it on Facebook with people I'm connected to on Facebook. I'm actually taking part in an act of intimacy, in an act of sharing, in an act of service. You go to a meeting, you set chairs up. It's an act of service. It's an act of intimacy. It's an act of love. See, all these different faces and things we are connected with, but it's the little things that we connect with. And so really on a spiritual basis, I'm also building friendships. I'm getting close to people. I'm getting to know them. I feel safe with them. I feel comfortable. So when I really be able to build a relationship with anything in life, it means it takes time. It takes investment. It takes being connected. And what's so beautiful is it happens naturally. I've said this so many times in the course of my journey in life. If you truly are open, you have a good spirit, then your spirit will attract into life with you what's going on inside of you. We are people of attraction. And so I have to look at my spirit and see what's going on inside of me. But the energy of love needs to be interconnected. Needs to be able to develop a sense of interdependency on others too. So we're part of one another. So my spirit grows when you share your spirit with me. And we learn from each other, we grow from each other. That takes us even into when I'm around people I'm very special in my life. I can draw from their intimacy and their closeness. I learn from them, but I'm also learning one of the biggest elements of all relationships. To be able to feel safe, to feel comfortable, to be able to feel a sense of being able to belong, of being accepted, to be able to realize the importance of growth taking place in my life. Why do people come into my life? So I can grow and learn from them. As time goes on, this may even take us to a level of maybe a deeper relationship with someone very special, or one unique individual or person. But it doesn't mean I give up everything else in life. I keep the process going. And so I learned after a while to build that intimacy, to build that closeness. But on an emotional level, we have many faces. We have the face of fear sometimes, the face of guilt, the face of shame. They're all elements of learning and growing, but also we have the face of sadness, the face of being able to feel close, to feel intimate, to feel bonding, to feel part of one another. These are all faces of love, faces of learning, faces of growing. My feelings are the most important part of who we are as people. I need to share my feelings. I can't keep them in, but I have to share them with people I feel safe with. So one of the faces of love is to be around people I can share my intimacy with. I can share my gifts with. I can share them. I feel very intimate and very close to all of you. I'm able to share the things that are inside of me today. Is that being vulnerable? Yes. And yet you got to be able to also develop a sense of trust, a sense of openness, a sense of learning. And again, yes, it doesn't mean that you do that with everybody in the whole entire world. I joke a lot, but I said this to you before. You know, if I walk outside in the morning and my neighbor says hello to me, I don't do a fifth step with him and scare the man half to death. I say hello. I spend some time. How you doing? How's your day going? Hope you have a good day today. You know, I pet his dog, have some fun, talk about the dog, whatever. It doesn't make a difference. It's that intimacy, it's that bonding, it's that concept of emotions, of feelings, and be able to know what my feelings are, to be in touch with them, and also to have outlets for my feelings, to be able to connect with individuals, people, and places where I can leave these feelings out and not get hurt. Be able to share and be connected. These are the faces of emotions, the emotional things inside of us. And it's so important to realize the fact I need to have people in my life I can share my feelings with. Did you ever notice something? I love sharing this. Somebody comes along and shares their feelings with you, and we say to them, oh, don't be upset. You know what? If I'm upset, I want to be upset. I have to learn also, for a sense of intimacy and closeness on this level, is to be a good listener. And sometimes all I want to be able to do is talk, get things out, share them. You know, I'm in a period of my life right now, I'm going through something because the end of May, I always go through some things because I'm going through some of my anniversary dates. Today is the anniversary of my mother's death 41 years ago. That brings up a lot of feelings inside of me. I spend time talking to my sponsor about it. I spend time talking to my therapist about it. I spend time talking to my wife about it. I spend time talking to people in the program about it. Because I realize this is the time, a lot of times, when things start to boil up inside of me because of my interconnection with my mother. And it brings back memories, things of this effect. They need to be shared. Emotional feelings come up, sadness, you know, sense of loss, things of this effect. They're all part of the journey of life that we go through. And those feelings will occur in different areas of life. Sunday the 21st is the anniversary of my ordination to the priesthood. Again, for some crazy reason, all these things pop up inside of me. I need to share them. I need to talk about them. Same thing on my birthday, because my birth was not, it was traumatic. My mother almost died on the operating table when I was born, cesarean birth. You know, it was a pretty traumatic time to go through things in life. And so feelings come up. We all have anniversary dates, different things of things that affect us in our life. And it's almost like my system needs to be able to talk about this, to be able to share it, to allow it to come out. That's important. See, I've learned this, and boy, I do it the hard way. I spent a long time avoiding, running away, hiding, and burying my feelings. It's so nice to be able to talk about them now, to be in touch with them now, be able to share them now. Why do we have to do it the hard way first? Put a wall around ourselves because we're afraid to let anybody in. Will you get hurt? Sometimes. It's part of life, part of the journey. We learn how to be able to set boundaries with feelings. On a physical level, also, we see different elements of the face of love. We have a physical body. I have to learn to respect and honor this body. I also have a sexual body. I have to acknowledge my sense of my sexualness. I have to acknowledge my sexuality, the gift of who I am as a person. I have to be able to acknowledge my needs, what my needs are. So in all relationships, we're building that constant process of learning and growing. But at the same time, we have to stay away from trying to control, to stay away from possessiveness. When I give this lecture in public, I always do a little diagram. I want you to visualize it for me. Visualize two people. In this case, I'll do male and female, but it could be you and your child. It could be you and your, it could be you and your family. We have two people in a relationship, and they're leaning on each other like this. It's called dependency relationship. So if one moves, the other one falls. They can't function without one another. Then we have people that are back to back with each other. They're called functional relationships. You go through rituals, you go through functions, but we're dead spiritually, emotionally, and we're also dead, except we're physically connected. Real relationships have something called space. So if I am to really be a total person, I am an individual. I have a life of my own. I also have friends, people I'm connected with. I have people I'm in my recovery program with. I have people, my journey, my social aspect of life. If I'm in a relationship with, in this case, with my wife has her circle of friends, her people. Some we have together, some we don't, and that's okay too. It's not just one thing, one direction. It opens up the door and moves things in different directions. So I'm learning that good, healthy relationships have all four components. To be in a truly healthy relationship with another individual, no matter who that individual is, whether it be a partner, whether it be a marriage, whether it be people that are connected as friendships, whether it be parent and child, no matter what it happens to be, because relationships are the gifts of the power of life, our connection to one another. It's where it's really at. And so I'm learning, no matter where it is, I have to realize the fact that there has to be unconditional love. There has to be openness. There has to be all four components for a relationship to be good. Somebody said to me one time, they said, when I got married, I took a vow, till death do us part. I said, well, now let's take a look at that. Let's take at the word death. Now, if your relationship has died emotionally and has died physically, the only thing left is the physical. Please don't kill the person. It means your relationship has come to an end. 2/3 are missing, and possibly 3/3 are missing. So the concept that 3/4 are missing, it's not thirds. I got to get my arithmetic straight here. But the bottom line is, I realize, in life sometimes we have to, that's what happens sometimes when we only base a relationship on the physical That's attraction. It's beautiful. Remember, I shared it before when I talked about love, the energy of love. There's something called attraction. And attraction means I get attracted to someone. I fall in love, quotation marks. It's called attraction. 2 hours later, I fall out of love. What the hell? What's the difference? Back and forth, all over the place. These kids do it as teenagers in different areas of life. And as a result, then I realized that's part of the journey. I also think we have something referred to besides that concept of, attraction. We also have something called, physical relationships, or let's make a deal relationships. Relationships that are on contingencies, that are on this types of things in that direction. I'll be in a relation with you if only you do this for me, and I do that for you, and I take care of this. A real good, healthy love is love of the spirit. Love that comes from my spirit that's inside of me. That energy needs to be shared. So that real spirit of love has a need to be shared. Can be shared on a deep level with one individual, but on a less deeper level with other individuals. We talked about that last week. If I'm truly growing as a person and I'm healthy, I have different people in my life I can share this stuff with. Not just stay in one little direction all the time. So it's a process I'm learning in the course of my journey in life. I'm realizing the fact that, yes, I need to be connected, but also have to realize we get caught up in the aspect that I could have sex with someone and not be in a relationship. It's called a physical act. Or I can have intimacy and closeness with someone and it can be a deep sexual relationship. They're all different faces. One is based on love, one is based on gratification. And the concept is we can see this in many different directions in life. And so I can look at this from other perspectives too. We call so many things love sometimes that really aren't love. And so this energy is so special and so beautiful. It's got to be respected. It's got to be honored. And as we go through life and different phases of life, we learn that this need does not go away. We have a need to be connected to others. We have a need for intimacy. We have a need for sharing. We have a need for openness. We also have a need to be able to take care of these things in a time and in a place where it's supposed to be. And that means that there's boundaries and things involved in it. And so I'm going to build a relationship with someone. How many people get involved in a relationship based on physical attraction? God, I met this beautiful lady the other day. We had a great time together. We're in love. I don't really know her name, but we're in love. Hey, come on. Craziness, insanity. That means you're attracted. So the concept is I have to realize that there's this beautiful thing called me, this beautiful thing called you. Each one of us is a person. And that person is so unique and so special and so beautiful. But each one of us is also a lover. We have the energy inside of ourselves. And that energy is so powerful and so beautiful, it needs to be shared, but not just in one dimension. It needs to be shared physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially. You need to be able to have that total concept of sharing. How can you truly be committed to someone else if you never were friends with that person? You have no idea who they really are. So many times people get involved in a relationship and say to me, if I know what I knew about him now, I never would have got involved in this in the first place. Did you ever spend time to really get to know someone? To really grow? To go through the concept of learning? Years ago, they had this old-fashioned thing. And I'm being a little old-fashioned now, so put up with me. It was called courting. You courted someone. You spent time with them. You invested time in it, and things grew over a period of time. Now, I got to find somebody. Okay? Well, maybe we'll go to Macy's or someplace and we'll find them. I don't know. Maybe you can catch them at a department store or the Acme. But no, that's not how it works. It's the concept of you never know where it's going to be. And I learned this in my own life. I learned that when I was able to make decisions and growth and go through the process of my own growth, then attraction took place. And good relationships many times happen by accident. A good friend of mine told me this a long time ago. She says, I love this couple. They basically ended up in a relationship with one another when they were 55 years old. But they truly cared about each other when they were in high school. But their lives went two totally different ways, but somehow God brought them back together again at a later age when they were ready for a relationship together. It's amazing sometimes how it works. I always love telling the story, my favorite story. When I was a kid growing up, we had this couple that lived on our street in Camden. And I'm going to give you their names, so they're weird names. Sinigale and Semeginad. They're two Italian names. Okay, now, you got to visualize this couple. I lived at 217 Clinton. They lived 2 houses down from me. And Sinigale was maybe, I don't know, 5'4", 5'3", probably weighed about 120 pounds. His wife, Semeginad, was about 320 pounds. So we used to refer to them as the odd-looking couple. But I used to laugh a lot of times. So as kids, we used to gather every Friday. Friday was theater day, we used to call it. We gather on the bench and we sit there. And Sinigale would go out, and it was trash day. He'd go shopping and pick up his treasures. He'd bring them back, his little wagon, little red wagon. He'd bring his treasures back. And then we watched him bring the treasures into the house. About 3 minutes later, you hear a scream in the house, and him and the treasures would exit the house. He nicely picked them all back up again, go back in, and there'd be another scream, and out would come the treasures again. And we loved this when we were kids, getting a kick out of this. We knew that eventually he would keep going back in until I guess she got tired and he and the treasure stayed in the house. So he kind of wore it down, I guess. But I loved about the two of them. Now they were total opposites. And yeah, they yelled at each other once in a while, but I see them at nighttime sitting on the step together, holding hands, cuddled up against each other, watching the sun go down. The one thing I knew about the two of them, they truly had a deep love for one another, a deep connection to each other. And even though the other crazy stuff went on, they were bonded, they were there. And we see this so many times in the course of life. Sometimes the oddest of couples end up being the most beautiful of couples. My first sponsor, I'll never forget this. Norm, he was gay, he had a partner. And way before marriages were legal or anything, I was a priest. At their house, I performed their marriage anyway. I was a little bit of a rebel priest back then. Even though they weren't legally married, we did their wedding. But the two of them were such opposites. It was unbelievable. Isn't that beautiful in a way? Because they're two individuals. We're all individuals in relationships. And that's why it's a concept of I have a need in my life, not just to be in this one single place, but to be able to have all these other components we talked about today. They say so many times it takes a community to raise a child. It takes people working together, a sense of community, a sense of closeness. I look back at my life as a child and I'm grateful. Was it dysfunctional? God, it won awards. It was fantastic. But the thing I loved so much about it was the atmosphere of the neighborhood. You had crazy people and nutty people and fun people and all kinds of people. It was great, man. And yet everybody was so different. You had Tony the Chicken Man. You had Johnny the Ice Cream Man. You had Frankie who came around peddling pots and pans and everything else. We had the milkman. We had the wacky doctor, and he used to come and make house calls all the time and yell at you. It was like a crazy neighborhood, but it was this feeling, this energy of love and connectedness together. Even though some crazy stuff took place, and we used to laugh sometimes, get a kick out of it as kids. But there was this togetherness and yet at the same time conflict. Isn't it wonderful sometimes to realize the fact that the good, healthy aspect of building relationships, there's going to be, at times, they're going to be ugly and beautiful at the same time. Because we are. I told you before, if you don't believe it, when you wake up in the morning, run in the bathroom and stare in the mirror, that is a sight for sore eyes. Then later on, you look pretty good. Amazing, isn't it? God, the human element is so beautiful and so fantastic, and yet we miss it. And that's why even growing old, getting into new areas of life, getting connected, we all need bonding. I live in the 55 and over community, and I see people, and we have a singles group, and we have different types of groups, a lot of widowers and widows and things of that effect. And yet they always find friendships and bonding and togetherness. And they have activities and they share things together. And yet there's a lot of craziness goes on along with it too. Nothing's perfect. It's great. I'm glad that there's that interconnection, that nuttiness, if you want to call it, that makes part of a relationship. It's a beautiful part of life. And that goes into even being able to live. My wife and I joke about this all the time. We are total opposites. I'm very much an extrovert. My wife is very much an introvert. And I'm grateful. You know why? She calms me down and I can bring her out a little bit. We have a connection together. She's very private, and guess what? I'm not. It's amazing, isn't it? She says, you amaze me. She said, the stuff you talk about sometimes. I say, it's okay, though. You are. At the same time, there's this bonding, this intimacy, this closeness that's there between us at this moment. I have no idea where she is right now, and I don't need to know where she is. But I am intimately connected to her right now. I can feel my connection to her no matter where she is, no matter what's going on. I don't need to know where she is or what she's doing. She pretty much knows what I'm doing right now because I'm giving a lecture at 12 o'clock. But the bottom line is, and she might even be listening in for all I know, but the bottom line is the concepts of this, and you connect with it. And that's why it's so important in learning about relationships with others. Realize the fact that look at all four components. Good relationships on all levels have a need to be physical, emotional, spiritual, and social. We have a need to interact, to have fun, to play, socialize. So love has a lot of different faces. And those faces are all good. Even the ones sometimes that are sadness is a good thing. Loss is part of the face of love. A lot of things will go on in life because sometimes, letting your kids go as they grow up, not liking some of the things they're doing, and yet at the same time, you love them to death. You'll always love them. Give the energy of love. You don't have to like what they're doing, but the energy of love can go out to them. I just want to say a word for a second about mothers. Because mothers are a special breed of people. They really are. They're amazing. Isn't it amazing how as a mom, and the moms in here, you know what I'm talking about, how mothers can actually feel something going on with one of their child, even if their child's miles away. I experience with my wife a lot of times. She'll say to me, Vince, something's wrong with Michelle. Michelle lives in Montana, by the way. Something's wrong. I got to call her. She'll call her and Michelle will be crying about something. And they'll share and they'll talk. Now, how does she know that? It's called mother's instinct. There's a feeling. And when something's not right, you know it. I think it's a God-built thing that comes into mothers. It comes into people. but also comes into other areas of life. We even feel this sometimes we're around people and you can actually feel something's wrong. Or I might meet one of my buddies and say, "Why are you upset?" "I'm not upset, I'm fine." "No, you're upset. You want to talk about it?" "If not, it's okay too. It's all part of it." And so listen to your instinct, listen to your inner feelings. But the most beautiful relationship of all, we said it last week, is the one I have with me. If I work on me and take care of me, then my energy and my spirit will have a tremendous need to be interconnected with other individuals and other people in the course of the journey in life. That's really what it's all about. So I understand that concept of developing healthy relationships with others. Look at the four components and realize we need these in our life. We need these in doing service and being connected to others too. So my prayer today is that we're able to go through this process of connection, this process of learning, this process of growing, as we interconnect with all the people we meet in the course of our journey in life. And we're all part of each other. We're all connected to each other. We're all bonded to each other. That's a beautiful part of our growth processes we have. So let us pray. God, we come before you in a spirit of prayer. We ask the God of our understanding, our higher power, our divine presence, our higher presence. We ask that you be our guide and our strength and help us on this journey of life. Teach us the value of relationships. Teach us that you will send people into our life to teach us about ourselves. You will send different people at different times, even more. Some people will stay for a long period of time and some won't. Help me to be open to the lessons I can learn from all the people I meet in the course of my journey. Thank you, God, for allowing me to be human, for allowing me to have feelings, to allow me to be able to realize my need to be connected, to interact with others, my need to grow, to learn. Thank you so much for the ways in which you try to teach me, that you sent me on this earth with a gift of love, and you told me, take this gift and share it. Sometimes you forget the powerful gift. I forget the powerful gift that we have. And yet we'll rediscover it through our connection with others. And so, yes, you taught us that faith can move mountains, that doors can be opened, that new lives can be, life can begin. Help us to be open to new things and new journeys in the course of our journey, Lord. We thank you so much for the gift of life, for the gift of love, for the gift of family, and for the gift of one another, and the gift of journey, the gift of recovery, the gift of our growth. We pray and we ask this each and every day. We pray it for your guidance and your direction. We pray it in your name. Amen.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.